In 1982, Poltergeist terrified audiences with its tale of a suburban family haunted by restless spirits. It wasn't just another ghost story, it was a cultural phenomenon that turned everyday objects like televisions, toys, and swimming pools into nightmares. But behind the glowing static, the clown doll, and the whispers of "they're here," the film carried a darker reputation. Cast deaths, dangerous stunts, and unsettling production choices gave rise to one of Hollywood's most famous legends, that Poltergeist itself was cursed. Here are 25 strange and creepy facts about Poltergeist, stories that will make the film scarier off-screen than it ever was on. Number 1. Real human skeletons were used. In one of the film's most terrifying scenes, JoBeth Williams' character Diane falls into a muddy swimming pool filled with corpses. The shocking truth is that those skeletons weren't plastic props. They were real human skeletons purchased from a medical supply company. Williams didn't find out until after filming wrapped. When she learned the truth, she was horrified, and many later claimed this decision was like inviting a curse. Using real human remains in a story about angry spirits felt like tempting fate. For fans of the legend, this was the moment the curse of Poltergeist truly began. Number 2. The sequel deaths fueled the curse. The talk of a curse grew louder after Poltergeist 2. Julian Beck, who played the skeletal preacher Kane, was dying of stomach cancer during filming. His sunken face and frail body weren't makeup. They were real. He died shortly after production ended. Then came Will Sampson, the Native American actor who played Taylor the Shaman. Disturbed by rumors of real skeletons being used in the first film, Sampson even performed a real exorcism on the set of Poltergeist 2. Less than a year later, he died at just 53 following complications from heart-lung surgery. Two major actors from the sequel, gone in quick succession, gave the Poltergeist curse a frightening new layer. What had started as a rumor was now bolstered by real tragedy. Number 3. Heather O'Rourke's eerie premonition. Heather O'Rourke became the haunting face of the franchise with her line, "They're here." But some who worked with her recalled that she occasionally spoke about her future in ways that unsettled them. Before her sudden death in 1988, she allegedly told her mother she was worried she wouldn't live to grow up. O'Rourke's death at only 12 years old, from a misdiagnosed intestinal blockage, shocked the world. In hindsight, her words sounded like a chilling premonition, as if she somehow sensed she wouldn't live past childhood. Number 4. The clown doll almost strangled Robbie. One of the film's most famous scares shows young Robbie being attacked by a clown doll. But during filming, the animatronic malfunctioned and its arm actually wrapped too tightly around actor Oliver Robin's neck. The boy began choking for real, and at first crew members thought his struggle was just good acting. But it wasn't until Robbins turned blue that they realized he was suffocating and pulled the doll off him. What was meant as movie terror turned into a near-fatal accident. For fans of the curse, it was another eerie sign that the line between fiction and reality was being crossed. Number 5. Real EVP recordings were used in the film. For the ghostly whispers and chilling sounds that echo through the house, the sound team didn't rely entirely on studio tricks. They blended in fragments of real electronic voice phenomena, EVP, recordings audio that paranormal investigators claim comes from the dead. The voices were distorted, layered, and buried in the soundtrack so audiences wouldn't notice consciously. But they created a subconscious unease that made the haunting feel real. The strange part is that Spielberg and the crew essentially invited real ghost recordings into the movie. Whether you believe in EVP or not, the knowledge that Poltergeist spliced alleged voices of the dead into its sound design makes those whispers far harder to shake. Number 6. The production was filled with strange accidents. The Poltergeist set was not just filled with staged scares. The cast and crew swore that strange mishaps kept happening when the cameras weren't rolling. Lights that had been working moments before would suddenly explode overhead, showering sparks across the crew. Equipment jammed without explanation, forcing long delays. Even the cameras themselves sometimes malfunctioned, refusing to capture shots that had worked perfectly in rehearsal. Actors later recalled that the atmosphere on set often felt heavy, like the air itself was charged. Some spoke of sudden waves of dread or unease that would wash over them for no reason, particularly while filming in the house at night. JoBeth Williams admitted she would sometimes leave the soundstage shaken, as if she had walked through something invisible but hostile. Even Steven Spielberg, who produced and co-wrote the film, noticed the strange disruptions. Though he laughed them off in public, he privately admitted the frequency of accidents was unsettling. On more than one occasion, he joked darkly that the set might really be haunted. Coming from Spielberg, a man who built his career on controlling the uncanny through special effects, the remark carried weight. It was as if the very act of making a ghost story had invited real chaos into the room. Number 7. Spielberg vs. Hooper. Who really directed? Tobe Hooper is credited as the director, but many crew members claimed Spielberg was the one truly calling the shots. Spielberg was under contract not to direct another movie while working on E.T., but he spent nearly every day on the Poltergeist set, guiding performances and visuals. This strange tug-of-war blurred authorship, leaving the film with an eerie hybrid style, part Hooper's horror grit, part Spielberg's suburban wonder. Number 8. Zelda Rubinstein claims she had psychic powers. Zelda Rubinstein, the actress who played the unforgettable psychic Tangina, did not treat Poltergeist as just another role. In interviews, she often admitted that she believed in the spirit world and felt attuned to unseen energies. While many cast members laughed off the idea of a curse, Rubinstein took it seriously. She warned crew members that there were dark forces attached to the production and even told some to protect themselves spiritually before coming to set. Her sensitivity went beyond vague warnings. Rubinstein later claimed that while filming, she felt an overwhelming presence of death hanging over the production. According to some reports, she even singled out Dominique Dunne, the young actress who played the eldest daughter, Dana, saying she sensed the danger around her. Only months later, Dunne was murdered at age 22, a tragedy that cast a permanent shadow over the film. For those who believed Rubinstein truly had psychic abilities, this was more than coincidence. It was a chilling premonition that made the curse feel inescapable. What makes this fact stranger is that Rubinstein herself seemed unfazed by her reputation. She leaned into the uncanny, often blurring the line between her real life and her role as Tangina. For audiences and crew members alike, it became impossible to tell where the actress ended and the psychic began. It was as if Poltergeist had not cast an actress to play a medium, it had invited a real one onto the set. Number 9. The static TV effect came from real white noise. In the early 80s, televisions really displayed static when not tuned to a channel. The famous image of Carol Ann pressing her hands to the glowing TV wasn't a special effect. It was genuine white noise. Audiences at the time recognized it instantly, which made the scene even eerier, as if the film had stolen a piece of their real lives. Number 10. The tree attack mixed full-scale and miniatures. The backyard tree that eats Robbie was pulled off with a full-size mechanical branch on the stage and miniature work for the exterior chaos. Cutting between these scales sells the illusion that a single living tree is smashing the house and swallowing a child, all without repeating digital tricks. Number 11. The curse rumors began with real deaths. The Poltergeist curse wasn't born from imagination, it was born from tragedy. Not long after the trilogy began, 2 young stars were gone. Dominique Dunne, who played the oldest daughter Dana, was brutally murdered at just 22 years old. She was strangled by her ex-boyfriend outside her Los Angeles home in 1982, only months after the first film premiered. Her life ended before her career had even begun, and fans immediately connected the horror on screen with the horror off it. Then came an even stranger and more heartbreaking loss. Heather O'Rourke, the angelic face of the franchise and the voice behind the chilling line, "They're here," died at only 12 years old. She had been misdiagnosed with Crohn's disease, and during the filming of Poltergeist 3, an undetected intestinal blockage led to septic shock. Her sudden death in 1988 stunned Hollywood and devastated audiences who had watched her grow up across the trilogy. These weren't the kinds of deaths people could dismiss. They were young, sudden, and horribly tragic, arriving in such close connection to the films that the word curse spread like wildfire. For fans, it felt too eerie to be a coincidence. A story about angry spirits seemed to have stirred something beyond the screen, as if the film had taken on a haunting life of its own. Number 12. Spielberg used a remote-controlled toy car to direct Heather. Because Heather O'Rourke was so young, Spielberg used creative tricks to get her performance. For one scene, he placed a remote-controlled toy car near the TV. He told Heather to follow the car with her eyes and smile. That guided her gaze perfectly for the there-here moment, a mix of innocence and terror that became iconic. Number 13. Optical effects were painted frame by frame. Before digital compositing was common, the film's glowing portals and skittering lights were achieved with optical printers and hand-painted animation passes on select frames. That meticulous, frame-by-frame work gives the supernatural a tactile shimmer you can't quite place. Number 14. JoBeth Williams swore the pool was electric. Williams later revealed that while filming the muddy swimming pool scene, she feared she might be electrocuted. With all the lights, wires, and equipment around the water, she thought it was inevitable something would short-circuit. Crew members assured her it was safe, but Williams said she never shook the feeling of dread, especially once she learned the skeletons in the pool were real. Number 15. Real Suburb Movie House. The Freelings neighborhood exteriors were filmed in a real Southern California subdivision, while the interiors were purpose-built on sound stages. That mix of authentic streets and controlled sets is why the house feels both ordinary and unnervingly cinematic. The home looks like any family's place on the outside, even as the inside becomes a maze of supernatural chaos. Number 16. Oliver Robbins refuses to believe in the curse. While many cast members leaned into the idea of a curse, Oliver Robbins, Robbie, insists it's nonsense. He has said repeatedly that the tragic coincidences are just that, coincidences. Still, he admits the clown attack was all too real, which leaves fans unsettled about what's coincidence and what's something more. Number 17. Spielberg and Hooper fought over the rating. The film was initially given an R rating for its intensity, but Spielberg fought hard to bring it down to PG. He argued that there was no blood, nudity, or foul language, just scares. The MPAA eventually agreed, making Poltergeist one of the scariest PG-rated films ever released. Number 18. The face-peeling scene used real cow organs. One of the most stomach-turning moments in Poltergeist comes when Marty, a paranormal investigator, hallucinates that his own flesh is sloughing off in the bathroom mirror. The sequence is brief but unforgettable, with skin tearing, blood oozing, and muscle exposed in a grotesque close-up. What most audiences did not know is that the gruesome realism came from very real materials. The effects team created layers of wax and gelatin to mimic skin, but to achieve that disturbingly organic look underneath, they used actual cow organs purchased from a butcher. The slippery textures and the way the tissues pulled apart under the actors' hands were not special effects trickery alone. They were animal parts dressed up as human anatomy. The use of something so raw and lifelike gave the illusion a sickening authenticity that tricked the brain into believing the impossible. The reaction was immediate. Some audience members reportedly fainted during early screenings, while others fled the theater, unable to watch the skin ripping continue. Even crew members admitted that filming the scene was unsettling because the smell of raw organs filled the air. The strange part is that this moment is not even supernatural. It is a hallucination, yet it became one of the most horrifying images in the film. In a story filled with ghosts, it was the touch of grim reality that made the nightmare feel all too real. Number 19. Heather O'Rourke's voice was dubbed at times. Though Heather gave an astonishing performance for her age, her childlike voice was sometimes too soft to record properly. In post-production, certain lines were dubbed with her voice re-recorded, giving Carol Ann's dialogue an almost ghostly, doubled quality. Number 20. Spielberg insisted on a happy ending. Tobe Hooper wanted Poltergeist to close with a darker, more unsettling tone, but Steven Spielberg pushed for something lighter. After so much terror, he believed audiences needed a release, a chance to laugh and breathe again. That is why the family makes it out alive, checks into a motel, and slams the door on the last remnant of their nightmare by shoving the television outside. It was Spielberg's idea to turn the TV into a punchline, a strange joke that mocked the very object that had delivered so much horror. For audiences, it worked. People left theaters shaken but smiling, convinced the story had ended safely. Yet the eerie truth is that the gag did not erase the dread, it highlighted it. By treating the television as the true monster and then banishing it, the movie seemed to admit that the danger was not fully gone. The screen had already been a portal once, and there was no guarantee it would not glow back to life. The strangest part is how prophetic the ending feels today. At the time, it was just a clever gag, but decades later, television, screens, and static still haunt pop culture. What was meant as comic relief now plays more like a warning, as if Spielberg unintentionally left audiences with a ghost they could never turn off. Number 21. Stage 27 had a reputation long before. Parts of the production filmed on MGM's Stage 27, a soundstage with its own old Hollywood lore of odd noises and drafts. Crew who knew that history said it added a chill to late-night shoots. Whether you believe in ghosts or not, the stage's reputation did the atmospheric heavy lifting before effects ever rolled. Number 22. Heather O'Rourke's final interview is chilling. Before her untimely death, Heather gave an interview where she talked about feeling different from other kids her age, as if she had a special connection to something beyond normal life. Fans looking back see her words as haunting, almost like a farewell. Number 23. JoBeth Williams avoided going straight home. After long nights on the house set, JoBeth Williams often stopped to see friends before heading home, saying it helped shake the feeling that the shoot's tension had followed her. It was a small ritual, but it tells you how deeply the material got under people's skin. Number 24. Dominique Dunne's murder changed how fans watched. News of Dominique Dunne's murder broke while the film was still fresh in theaters. Viewers returning for re-releases reported the family's scenes felt unbearably sad. It was no longer just a ghost story. Audiences were watching a real young actress whose life had been taken, and that grief colored the entire franchise. Number 25. The curse lives on in pop culture. The Poltergeist curse has outlived the franchise itself. Decades after the first film, it remains one of Hollywood's most whispered legends. Documentaries, books, podcasts, and endless fan forums continue to dissect the eerie string of tragedies and coincidences tied to the cast and crew. It's not just remembered as a horror movie, it's remembered as a warning. The strange part is how the curse seems to evolve with time. Whenever something bad happens to a surviving cast member, fans immediately connect it back to Poltergeist. Even routine illnesses, accidents, or deaths become folded into the mythology, as if the curse is still hungry, still reaching out. The line between fact and folklore has blurred so completely that it's impossible to separate one from the other. And perhaps that's why Poltergeist feels different from other horror classics. It's not only the story of a family haunted by spirits, it's a story of a film haunted by its own reputation. Whether you believe in curses or not, the shadow of Poltergeist has never lifted. The movie has become folklore, a cinematic ghost that refuses to rest. Even after all the deaths, accidents, and eerie coincidences, the story of Poltergeist refuses to fade. And if you've stayed with us this long, you deserve to hear a few final secrets. Here are the bonus strange facts for the fearless. Bonus number 1. The film was blamed for real hauntings. After Poltergeist premiered, some fans claimed the movie followed them home. Letters sent to MGM describe strange electrical malfunctions, flickering TVs, and children waking up screaming after watching the film. While skeptics dismissed it as suggestion, the sheer number of reports gave the movie a reputation for carrying its spirits beyond the screen. Bonus number 2. The clown doll still exists. The infamous clown prop that nearly strangled Oliver Robbins didn't vanish into storage. It still exists. It has been displayed in horror exhibitions and private collections over the years. Fans often say they feel uneasy standing near it, as if the doll itself remembers what happened. For many, it's the creepiest cursed movie prop still in circulation. Poltergeist was more than just a haunted house movie. It was a production tangled with death, superstition, and stories too eerie to ignore. From real skeletons to cast tragedies, the film blurred the line between fiction and reality until the horror became inseparable from life itself. It's remembered today not just as a classic of supernatural cinema, but as one of Hollywood's strangest legends, a movie cursed as much by coincidence as by fear. This is Strange Flick Facts, where we uncover the bizarre truths behind your favorite films.